Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Aquath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. Salakia, allergies are acting up. They're actually clearing up, and all that sinus infection is coming out now. So, but this is the definition of bureaucracy in the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedic Edition, 1933, and it reads. Bureaucracy is from the Greek bureau, office, kratia, power, a form of government administered by departments and sub-departments, each under a chief responsible to one of a higher authority and operating with a highly systematic routine, often used to imply unwarranted interference in government and private matters by officials, or undue emphasis on official routine or red tape and officials such as government collectively. And I've come to find out, even prior to this whole thing with the corona and the mandates and all that sort of thing, that this government operates in total bureaucracy from the highest courts to the lowest. Because anytime you come with evidences that could possibly prove your case or make the law work in your favor, they'll just put your stuff to the side. And I'm a living example of that. I don't want to go into that. But that's what happens, and that's what's going on now with all this red tape and unwarranted interference, which is going on from state to state to state. So without any further ado, we're going to let Government Desantis speak. All right. And I may interject here and there. I was hesitant to how I was going to let like 5 minutes of this play and then bring out some scriptures. But he says so much in this 5 minutes. This is a 24-minute video of Governor Desantis responding to Biden's new OSHA rules setting for January 4th deadline for the mandates. But he said so much in the first 5 minutes that I was like, okay, I got to do a response to this. Most of it's going to go over the average American citizen's head. All right. But without any further ado, let's see if we can bring some clarity and a biblical aspect, a spiritual aspect, understanding to what's going on here.
Well, good afternoon. A year and a half ago, we started with 15 days to slow the spread, and now it's gone to get jabbed or lose your job. And today's OSHA rule, very long time coming. We were.
So that's what he's saying. OSHA is one of those sub-departments what we just read about, which really isn't a part of your government at all, and really can't set standards. Their power is limited, but yet you have organizations that are setting standards within small businesses that are actually, according to the law of the land, are unlawful.
We were waiting for it. That was issued. If you look at it, here it is. It's almost 500 pages. And so we're supposed to be a government of laws, not a government of men. This is 500 pages of a government of a bureaucracy, a government that is being run by executive edict, not in accordance with the typical constitutional processes. And the state of Florida is going to respond.
So this is why so many Americans are ready to go against their government, because those who have a clear understanding of law and of the constitutions can clearly see the violations that are being done thereof. And the so-called founding fathers, which founded America, would roll over in their graves if they saw what's been being done to that beloved document, and then so many so-called soldiers that has fight, that has fought and died or currently serving. That's the document that they're supposed to be upholding, but yet all these lower documents that don't that from these other departments that really don't even have the right to make law in the way that they're making it are surpassing the law of the land, and that's going to be a problem with a lot of people, which brings to mind the scripture in Isaiah 10:1, and you got to be careful what you say, because I don't want to, the algorithms to kick in and delete the video and give me a strike. But this is Isaiah 10:1, and it reads, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." So they write grievousness as law and prescribe grievous laws that suppress and oppress the people, all to fit their own private agendas.
And we will combat the OSHA rule as soon as it's published. The state of Florida will be joining with Georgia and Alabama, as well as private plaintiffs, to file suit. This is a rule that is not consistent with the Constitution and is not legally authorized through congressional statutes. There is no federal police power.
Did you hear that? A mandate is not a law, yet they're enforcing it as a law. Same thing as Title 4D. It's not lawful, yet they enforce Title 4D as if it is law. And if you don't know what Title 4D is, that's, go do some research.
Federal government can't just unilaterally impose medical policy under the guise of workplace regulation. And that is exactly what they're trying to do here. They don't provide any instances why the workplace is somehow different than anything else that's been done.
And when the workplace is anything different from anything else that's been done, it makes me think of those safe pockets of air that are around restaurant tables. Once you come in with your mask on, and then you walk over to your table and you remove your mask, that safe invisible bubble that's around the table where you're sitting, if they could just expand that to everywhere, we'd be okay. All right, that's me being facetious, but wow.
With any of this, this is an attempt to shoehorn policy through the bureaucracy in a way that will be difficult for some of these individuals and private parties to resist. I think it's interesting that this is being done under the guise of emergency power. This was announced 2 months ago, and it said this is an emergency and that this is grave danger.
So they've done a lot of things that they say was grave danger, but then they allow, things like Lollapalooza, where they have millions of people to, hundreds of, I should say at least a couple 100,000 people at minimum, to fly from all corners of the country, even from around the world, to attend and travel during the time of a most dangerous pandemic. You also had other gatherings and football, basketball games. You had George Floyd, gatherings. You had all these things that were happening during this time when it was such an emergency. I don't understand. You would think that they would just shut everything down completely for couple months and everyone would have been mad and pissed off, but it would have been over with and everyone would have reached herd immunity and and this, that, and the other. But it's funny how they allow certain things to operate on a regular basis. The Florida thing that happened, spring break last year, that, and then they use that as as a catalyst as to why this thing spread, because people came from all over the country for that. So if this thing was really, it's just one of those things that make you go, that make you think. But this is Psalms 94:20, and it reads, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law?"
Is facing, then why did it take you 2 months to issue the rule? And then, of course, the rule doesn't take effect until January, which is convenient because it'll minimize workforce disruptions over the holiday season, which we know we're like.
So you're going to wait till the holiday season is over so you can make all the money that you can for your stockholders. And then after you've collected up all the money you can, let the mandates kick in. If it was really that important, you would just cancel Christmas.
To see anyways, and then this would only exacerbate that. So this is not consistent with a government of limited and enumerated powers. There is no general police power. There's no power to mandate on the American people from the federal government. People will sometimes point out about state mandates and how those have been imposed through the years.
See, what's happening is that Esau Edom is exposed on such a high level. He does not care about his exposure anymore. He doesn't care when you point out the law anymore. The law is just like Christianity. He's done with that. You know, Christianity is no longer a relevant weapon for them to use, especially now the truth has come out about the falseness of Christianity and the way it was pushed and all the, false and fake history that is pushed with it. And it's no longer needed, right? Because they've set things in motion and that within the government, which clearly Christianity would be completely and totally against, well, at least the Bible would. Not Christianity, but the Bible would be against it. So it's beyond clear that when something gets to the point where it's no longer useful to them, they just put it by the wayside and start with something new. All right? That's what they do.
And have the constitutionality has been upheld. States clearly have a general police power. Whatever the wisdom of a particular mandate is, it's much different.
So there's really no federal police power at all like that. The states have that power. Yet they're overriding the states. And some states are in line with them, and other states are not. And that's where that division is coming in. That great sedition and these civil wars are going to ensue because they're prophesied. And you saw a small taste of that during the BLM and the Antifa riots when you saw the good old boys storm the Capitol and storm the White House. You're starting to see it, except it's going to happen again, and this time it's going to be no turning back. Right? They're actually going to be rounds fired from both sides. As my man Terrence Pop said, a two-way rifle range, which he doesn't want to see, but that's about to happen, right? You've ever been to the rifle range, then you would understand that statement. When you're aiming at a target down range to zero your weapon, so that you could qualify as a marksman, a sharpshooter, or expert. Only this time the targets are aiming back. Now you got a problem.
When the federal government is imposing that on tens of millions of Americans, particularly without any legislative sanction. At the end of the day, individuals should make informed choices about their own health care. They shouldn't be coerced into getting a jab. In this situation, you're going to have people that are going to have to make that decision. Do you get fired from your job? Or do you do this if this may be something that you don't think is something that you want to do? And just be clear with what OSHA is doing. They're clearly not doing science because they reject.
Wow, they're clearly not doing science. Okay. I was going to, now you see what I mean? If I would have just let it play, it would have been too hard to come back and touch up on all those points. But this is 1 Timothy 2 and 6. No, that's not it. Hold on. Maybe it's 2 Timothy. Let me get up and close this door. Oh, there it is. Oh boy. Why is it that I can't find the scripture that I bring out so much? Okay, how about this? Bear with me 1 second. Wow. Yeah, this is 1 Timothy 6:20. And it says, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings of oppositions of science, falsely so called. That's what the governor said, basically. So pseudoscience is being used to, all right, let me take that back. I didn't say it.
Healthcare, they shouldn't be coerced into getting a jab. In this situation, you're going to have people that are going to have to make that decision. Do you get fired from your job, or do you do this if this may be something that you don't think is something that you want to do? And just be clear with what OSHA is doing. They're clearly not doing science, because they reject immunity through prior infection. They reject the Israel study and all the very strong studies that have come out that show people that have recovered from COVID have strong protection.
So that's when it goes back to what I said, when evidence is presented, as like in my personal case against the government, against Title 4D, just like in this case, once you present evidence that proves your point, they just dismiss it or ignore it. Oh, no, well, never mind what you have on film. Never mind that you have the evidence proving your innocence. You have witnesses and evidence. We just will just like not look at that, and we would just proceed forth with our judgment against you. That's basically what he's saying. That's basically what he's saying.
They totally cast that aside, and they make no accommodation or acknowledgement of that in any way, shape, or form. But ultimately, people...
And they simply don't talk about it. All right? They just don't talk about it mainstream.
Should be able to make these decisions. I don't think people want this decision yanked away from them. I don't think they want to allow a precedent where the federal government could come in and just force you to do what it wants you to do. And make no mistake about it, those individuals who have gone through a normal vaccination series for COVID, you will be determined to be unvaccinated very soon. They will do that.
Wow, now that's heavy, because it may be some truth in that. All you people who have taken the sauce, you very well may be labeled not sauced up with the way that they keep going. All right? Because they're going to advance the mandates where you people, and they're not mentioning all the injuries, the side effects and the injuries from the sauce, and the deaths. Any deaths from the sauce are being downplayed and not talked about. This is Daniel 8:25, and it reads, "And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand." And with that, they made me think, I'm so afraid that they may, delete this video anyway, even though I said nothing medically whatsoever. I just pointed out some different information. I just want to make everyone aware that I also now I do have a TikTok account under Malcolm. So I have a TikTok account, which I will be putting up short videos. I try to keep them, 3 or 4 minutes, because I know how that's the way TikTok operates. Maybe even shorter than that. Try to keep them to 2 or 3 minutes. Just quick hits of information and that sort of thing. Just wanted to put that information out there. All right.
They're going to tell you you're unvaccinated and you have to get a booster. Otherwise, you could potentially face loss of employment or other types of penalties. So that is going to happen. They're not putting that in the rule, but they're already asking for feedback on how to do this going forward. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's going to get more restrictive. There's going to be more power brought to bear going forward if we don't stand up now.
And see, he said if we don't stand up now, so that insurrection is going to come, man. And he mentions in here, I don't remember if he said it already, how he was in alignment with other governors in other states. And so you're going to have more and more states that join on to Florida. I think he mentioned Alabama and Arkansas and a couple of others. That are going to join unto them. I'm pretty sure Texas, and there's quite a few northern states that are going to join unto them as well. So this division that comes now is even bigger than it was during the Civil War. And the South this time, the rebels this time will actually have northern states on their side. So this thing is gonna get bad, man. This is real quick, and we'll end it here. This is Second Ezra 15, I believe. And 16. And it reads, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes." That's their governments and their governors and their presidents, their mayors, that whole sort of thing. "In the course of their action, they shall stand in their power. And a man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread and great tribulation." Call Halal Yahweh Bashim Abashai Bashim Rakak Kadash Wa Abba Babal Kwam Yasharala.